What's up, nerds? My name is Brennan, the nerd of many faces, and to my left, of course, we have the SassySwede, and to my right, we have Shane at FDScosplay, and we are the Knights of Nerd, and welcome to another episode of the Round Table Discussion. Today, we're going to be talking about something that we very much enjoy. I think Shane might, well, actually, no, I think it might be a tie between the two of you in terms of who is the bigger, who is the bigger Batman fan. Shane, I know that you're a Superman fan and that he's always going to be number one in your heart in terms of DC, but Batman I don't know, does Batman take a close second?
Kind of, yeah. For certain reasons, yes.
And then Swede, it's like, I know that you're a Jason Todd fan.
Yes.
Considering that you have the Jason Todd bat symbol on your t-shirt right now, looking very...
Don't forget I met you wearing a Jason Todd cosplay. You were wearing a Jason Todd cosplay.
Yes, I was wearing a Jason Todd cosplay. It's like I had seen a whole bunch of other Robins and everything else, and I'm like, and I don't really want to do... It's like we have Batman's on lock from another individual, our good friend Sean, he has Batman on lock, so therefore I'm like, I'll go with one of the lesser known Robins.
Yeah.
And what
now
did
we
I
have
do?
two Jasons.
and what do? I go with the villain Deathstroke.
Yeah,
hey,
thanks,
it worked
Dad.
out.
It did.
But today we're gonna be discussing the new movie, The Batman. There will be some spoilers, so if you haven't gone and seen the movie, granted, by the time that this is out, more than likely you should have gone and seen it. But we're going to be discussing the pros, the cons, the evolution of the Batman, of the Batman franchise itself, starting from like probably the 60s to now Robert Pattinson. And, you know,
Robert Pattinson. I will be here all week.
The joke of Robert Pattinson is the world's worst vampire because it took him 20 years to become a bat.
You know what? He did perform. He did really well.
Yeah.
I honestly was surprised how much I enjoyed him as Batman, even though I was one of those people that's like, I can't. It's bad vampire.
Yeah,
but you don't see it, which was great.
Well, I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. Other than that, we're not tainting Cedric Diggory. No.
Well, and here's the thing. That it's like I'm agreeing with you 100%. Like the whole entire thing of, you know, he did Twilight for a paycheck, or so it is believed and rumored and stuff like that. It seemed that not a whole lot of that cast and crew wanted to be there. But I think one of the things that helped Robert Pattinson in this regard is that after the Twilight movies, he pretty well disappeared from mainstream cinema.
Mm-hmm.
He went through and did a whole bunch of artistic films, very much did the independent and Sundance circuit for a good long while. I don't know if he went to, because he is British, I don't know if he went back to London to do live theater in that regard, because I know that a lot of Hollywood actors, like, they go to theater just to basically remove the stigmatism of a character that they've had. Daniel Radcliffe has done it for Harry. It's like who played Harry Potter. He did a stint in, you know, live theater. Hugh Jackman has done it. I mean, the list.
How about Hugh Jackman succeeded?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I don't think Pattinson did any theater. I think because he's put out a lot of films over the past years since Twilight, and they've all been really, really good indie films. Mm-hmm. The one he did before this last one, The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe.
I did see that.
He knocked it out of the park. I mean, both of them did. I mean, that was a phenomenal film.
Well,
so
it's Willem Dafoe.
I mean, yeah.
What does he not knock out of the park?
Right. Exactly. So
The
I
man
mean,
does not phone in a performance.
he's done a lot in, I don't want to say indie circuit because that's not what you would call it, in the indie film industry with a lot of the independent films and stuff, and it's been the right choice for him because I mean when you think about it, I mean he had Cedric and Harry Potter, and then kind of went from that into Edward and Twilight, and after doing kind of two back to back, teen novel, young adult, movies with characters that people love, it's and some of them you don't, it definitely, he made the right choice of kind of going that route because one, he kind of got his name out there with those two films, and then a lot of the times, a lot of the actors when they're done with a film and they do go to England or to Broadway to act is because they want to hone their skills. I mean, there's so many actors that are out there that are amazing, but they still go to the theater to basically to hone their skills and tighten in their acting, because theater acting and movie acting are completely different types of acting.
Yes.
I mean, you both know in theater it's it's very expression oriented. You have to sell the character.
You have to.
You get to do it one time. You don't get to do it 50 million times. There's no do-overs. You screw up, you better be able to think on the fly and be able to pick up, and still sell it, to where in film it's like, oh nope, I screwed up. Can we redo that? You can do that 50 million times and they're okay with it. But in the theater, it's definitely it's definitely an art to where you have to like you have to perfect it. Like you almost have to be a professor at it. In all regards of the theater, whether you're acting and directing in the symphony, backstage, building the sets, whatever it is. I mean, you've only got one take to do it, because like in cinema, it's a whole team that puts everything together and makes everybody look good. So, it's definitely a nice way of doing that.
So now let's go ahead and just let's talk about the Batman let's talk about the evolution of the character of Batman. Batman was first he was on television in the 60s. Not a whole lot, mind you, but he was still there. I don't remember the two gentlemen that played him early on, because
it was Adam West was in the 60s, 70s, and then before that there was a 1940s serial.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking
they did.
I remember the Adam West one, but I don't remember the other one.
Yeah.
Hand me my shark repellent, bat shark repellent. Man had an occasion for everything. It was hilariously campy. But yes, no, it's like the Batmans that I remember are Adam West, Michael Keaton, Shane.
What? Michael J. Fox? What? No.
Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney. As much as I want to try and forget the George Clooney version, Kevin Conroy, because he does. It's like I grew up with his voice on Saturday morning.
Yes.
With Batman the Animated Series and Justice League, Justice League Unlimited.
Anything that Batman has done.
It's like anything that Batman has been animated in. And surprisingly, and then of course Christian Bale with the Dark Knight series that Christopher Nolan did. Ben Affleck in Justice League and Batman v Superman. And now Robert Pattinson. And also, it's like I'll throw in this actor because I don't think he gets enough credit because he's done some great stuff. Jason O'Mara.
Yes.
Jason O'Mara does a lot of the voice acting for the Batman animated, for the DC animated features. now I think Jensen Ackles is the most recent one in terms of the DC animated features, because I think he was in The Long Halloween and
waiting for that Red Hood show. I'm waiting for it. We've been wanting this for years.
Everyone wants the Red Hood show, but now the question is it going to happen? Considering, like, okay, it's like, dude, you just upgraded from going from like sidekick to the main guy.
Yeah, but
so
who cares?
Fair.
Give us a live action.
Give us Jason.
Yeah, give us live action, and I mean, we all heard them talking in the movie, in the Batman with Catwoman, where she was going.
And
so
they're
why not?
With a much younger Batman.
Yeah,
he's not established, and they're actually pulling from the games, the Arkham games, because you can actually go into this place with the Riddler and do all this other stuff. They talk about the orphanage. And I would love, this opens so many gates or pathways, gateways, whatever you want to call it.
Oh my God, so
opportunities.
So many.
They already have a new Joker show that they're piloting. They're talking about Red Hood. When are we going to see Dick?
Yeah,
that would be great to start launching into all these Robins. Dick Grayson.
Thank you.
Nightwing.
But yeah, I mean,
remind me to tell you another really good story about that. But no, it opens so many opportunities. We've seen the Batman done so many different times, so many different ways. I love that he's younger. It's showing that he's a weird person. He's reclusive, which is what you think he's going to actually realistically be, other than this playboy billionaire that is really managing his time well and is always polished. And I like a weird Batman. It resonates.
Yeah,
it makes more sense.
Yeah, and I mean they're already announced that they're doing the Cobblepot show for HBO Max, the Penguin. So that's going to be pretty amazing. But yeah, I love the fact that it wasn't year one, because we've kind of gotten that in kind of a sense a little bit with Batman Begins. So that they went year two, where basically when you think about it, you have your freshman year, and then you have your sophomore album. This is kind of like, the second year is kind of like a sophomore album. Can he do better than what he did the first year and stuff like that? And you're seeing him learn from the mistakes that he made from the first year, and him kind of battle with, are things even getting better with me doing what I'm doing?
Yes.
So it was kind of neat to see that. I like emo Batman. Hey, he wasn't emo at all. He's a young kid that's trying to figure the shit out on the fly. And yeah, he may have all this money in the world and stuff like that, but in the movie he doesn't care about that. They even made mention to it, like, hey, we got we got the board members coming here, and you need to talk. And he's like, I don't care about that. I don't care about any of that.
Exactly.
All he cares about is making Gotham a safe place and doing it by whatever means that he can. Now, the fact that he doesn't kill anybody is another great thing too, which I love. I love the fact that they brought that kind of back into it, because that's what Batman was about. Like in the conversation, in kind of quarter away, maybe an hour into the movie, where him and Selena are talking, and she wants to kill somebody, and then they get the guy up on the in the construction area, and she wants to kill him, and he's like, no, like, we don't, you don't do that. Like, you'll be just as bad as they are. That, those speeches that he gave her and stuff like that. So I love seeing that, because that like you said, is straight out of Arkham and the comic books and stuff like that. But that was the one thing about this movie that I loved, is I'm sitting there watching it and I'm just like, wow, this really feels like the game, like the like the Arkham series. Like, this is
that's why I was so excited.
Good.
Once they
really
brought up
good.
Orphanage, and then him going in there to do Joker's tests.
Yep.
I lost it. I took my little brother, and he's sitting next to me, and I'm literally like, oh, it's freaking Arkham, in the middle of the theater, and somebody was like, yes! And I don't even know who they were, but we were friends in that moment we were friends.
Yep.
We connected on a very spiritual level because I remember sitting in my room playing it. And I'm like, oh, this reminds me of doing the race inside and
Yep.
solving all the puzzles and all that other stuff. And that I love that they picked someone that isn't overdone as a villain.
Yep.
I love that they went with the Riddler. And I love that they made him sick and twisted to the point where he was just wanting that relationship and that friendship because he was he didn't want to do it because he's just psycho and nuts, but it was more of a realistic mental illness thing. Hey, I'm reaching out. I want friends.
Right.
We're gonna be friends.
Well, the thing,
the
thing about this Riddler was, to me, he wasn't the Riddler. He was Hush, and they even kind of mentioned that in the movie, where he said it, and he's doing his cast, and he's like Hush. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh, so we're basically getting kind of a mixed version of Hush and the Riddler, which, I mean, if you guys haven't seen Hush or read the damn comic book,
read it.
It's the Riddler. There's no spoiler there. It's been out for years.
Yeah.
But like, oh my God, I was just like, I'm just sitting here going, oh shit.
They alluded to so many different types of media, whether that was some of the older, more classic comic books that or the games. And they just, it was so nice, the progression and bringing such a fresh perspective on him being young and awkward and trying to deal with all these people that are coming out of the woodworks that are weirder and weirder because now you have a vigilante that's running around in a bat suit and a cape. Right. So well, great. We have our mobsters, which are really well established in this movie, and talking about how Bruce's parents got killed and things like that. We see Catwoman emerging. She's not quite Catwoman, which is also nice.
Right.
And them talking about the start of their relationship.
With the costuming choices.
Yeah. I mean, it was good because you got to see where their relationship started.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. And they just assume that they've always had this long, weird love tryst, which they have, but they don't know why.
Right. And the one thing that I loved about the choice of just writing and how everybody kind of delivered everything, but if you realize in the movie, nobody but Alfred, Selina, and Gordon call him the Batman. Everybody else calls him Vengeance. So they don't know he's the Batman yet. He's only known as the Batman through them.
Well,
everybody else knows him as Vengeance
as well.
They do call him the Vigilante.
They call him Vigilante too, yeah. But it's
like
primarily they don't
refer to him as
the Batman.
Ultimately, the point that you're trying to make is indeed true, that they don't refer to him as the Batman.
Yeah. Yep. So which is kind of neat because that just shows that he hasn't established his name.
Yeah.
He's still that nobody vigilante guy that's running around working with the cops now. Which I thought that was I thought that was kind of neat because in all the films and stuff like that, it's
half
about
the cops hate him, half the cops
like
him.
Right, and Gordon's trying to go after him to find out who he is, and then by the end of it, he's like, okay, he's cool in my book, they're pals. In this one, it was like, okay,
everybody fucking hates him.
Yeah, everybody freaking hates him except for Gordon. And Gordon's utilizing him because his police force sucks.
And, well, it's like, and Gordon's relationship with the Batman is tumultuous at best.
Right.
Yes.
Like
it's
Gordon's
convenient when it's convenient, and then it's really hard, and like they want it to work. It's awkward. They're gonna try to make it work. They know they need each other, but they really don't like it.
Right.
We see it's like we actually kind of sort of see this in like in other crime dramas where people are using the little fish to get the big fish.
Right. Yeah. Right.
In this case, the Batman, Robert Pattinson, Bruce Wayne. He's the little fish going after the big fish. However, the little fish is going to kick the big fish's butt in the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean that's kind of interesting in terms of the dynamic of the relationship between Gordon and Batman. One of the things that I appreciated about this, and this goes to the whole entire point that you were making, Swede, about him being a young Batman, is that a lot of his stuff is very grounded and based in reality.
Yes.
When he takes a flight, it's like I have heard people issue their disgust with Batman using a squirrel suit to fly and not having a cape to actually do it for him, and I'm like,
have they seen Batman Beyond?
Well,
have they seen any of that?
Well,
Batman
Beyond had rocket boots too.
It's Batman year 2. He hasn't figured out the technology yet. He hasn't figured out that he's trying to figure this shit out.
You see him working and making his Batmobile.
Yeah.
You don't see, like, because I just rewatched The Dark Knight because it was on Netflix and I needed something to watch. But if you're watching that,
the technology is already pre-established in The Dark Knight.
Yes. Or he just says, I need this, and it magically appears. Yes.
I'm sorry. He's got Lucius Fox.
Yes. He does have Lucius.
Yes.
He just goes, hey, Fox, I need this. What do you got for me?
And then it's this super upgraded, holy shit technology that it's just like, okay, do I think the tumbler turning into a motorcycle because it's damaged beyond driving ability? Fuck yeah, that's cool. But it's not super realistic. But then you see him barely being able to drive this Batmobile because it's got a jet engine on it and he's trying to figure it out. And I'm sorry, that scene of him jumping that truck and it's just flames. But it's so much more realistic and grounded to where it's believable.
Yeah.
Yes. And also it's like the whole entire thing of, it's like, we were talking about the tech that he's using, and the reason why it's like, and here's one of the reasons why I think it's grounded. Yes, he doesn't have a Lucius Fox, but also Wayne Industry is, from what we are led to believe, is on the verge of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne is essentially broke.
Pretty much. Yeah.
He's a figurehead at this point.
So the whole entire thing about how, like, oh, he doesn't have his gadgets, so I don't like it. Nah. It's like, okay.
I like the fact that he doesn't have his gadgets because it makes him the Dark Knight.
It makes him a man. Not a superhero.
It makes him the detective. It makes him the detective that he was, and what everything is led into. Like, come on, people, Jesus.
Hold on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
People are making very good points in terms of the reason why they might not like it, because it doesn't have the tech that Batman doesn't. However, going back and going to the early formative years, which is kind of sort of something that's like, okay, this is something that we have seen before, the whole entire development of Batman and stuff like that, which, I mean, in all honesty, we all know Peter Parker got bit by the spider, so therefore, he is Spider-Man. Okay, granted, they had a different way of telling the story of Batman's developmental years in regards to how it is that he was trained to fight, because we're led to believe that Alfred is the one who taught him. But there is this whole entire thing about how the Batman, starting off where they were, I mean, granted, they've started off in multiple places. Like, okay, Bruce Wayne's established. Huzzah. In Nolan, they did a fairly decent job in terms of like, okay, here's where he starts, here's where he is, that's where he finished.
Yeah.
Where he finished was kind of a little bit lackluster, but yeah, whatever. That is my personal opinion. But in this one, the whole entire starting off with a dark and gritty Gotham, I really did enjoy. I enjoyed the grounded basis in technology. One thing that I did not particularly, it's like that I kind of sort of wish that they had done more with, was indeed Alfred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Andy Serkis, who is a brilliant actor, director, it's like mocap artist. Like the guy is good.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great.
What it's like? I'm kind of wondering? It's like, why did we not utilize him more?
Because it was Patton's movie, and to make him believable as Batman, and for people to like him, you got to put him out there on his own as much as you can.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Because if you already have that built relationship like Alfred and Bruce have in the other movies, you're not gonna get that feel that he's got Alfred at his back. Like, Alfred's got his back, but he's doing it on his own. Like, he doesn't have Alfred in his ear 24/7 like Christian Bale did, like, you know, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, all those other Batmans. It's him figuring out things for himself and learning to be the Batman. And the only person that can do that is Batman.
Yeah.
And I think if we didn't get that version of Batman, I don't think people would have enjoyed Pattinson as Batman as much as we have, because we would have gotten a recycled version of Batman, and he's just trying to do it better instead of doing his own version of Batman and making it his own.
Yeah.
Which made it way better.
It is less of, it's like, in terms of the relationship that I saw, it was more of like Alfred's a Jiminy Cricket to Robert Pattinson's Batman. It's like, hey, you should do the thing that's right, even though it's hard.
Right. He's the father figure. He's dad.
I am your conscience.
Yeah. Well, they even have the "you're not my dad" moment, which I appreciated. I thought it was a little funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's a little funny.
Yeah.
You're not my father. And then when it comes down to it, he realized how much he really meant to him, and it was okay. Let me get my act together. I got it. I got this. I'm gonna do this for Gotham. I'm gonna do it for myself, and I'm gonna do it for you, because you matter to me. I know you're important to me. You're letting me do my thing, but you're also trying to be that voice of guidance and support from a distance, so I still feel like I have my independence.
Right. So, and it's so early enough that he's learning that he can utilize Alfred and needs Alfred to help him get through these tough spots, because, like, in I think it was at the beginning when he's sitting there and he's talking about he sleeps during the day and is only awake at night. And that's why he doesn't have time to basically do anything with Wayne Enterprises or anything like that. And he's got Alfred basically already kind of playing that father figure role when he's telling him that, no, you need to make the right decision. You need to do this, you need to do that. You need to make yourself present for Wayne Enterprises and for the board members and stuff like that, because he's so already just engulfed in this vigilante that he has created, that Alfred doesn't want it to consume him and to make him into something that he's not, right? So it's definitely, I like the fact that by the end of the film, you get that feeling from the two of them that it's starting to kind of click a little bit, like, okay, Alfred is telling me, he's making sense, basically.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna take care of myself. I'm gonna appear in public.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try, because I know it's like finally he starts to click where it's like, okay, I need people to not figure out that's who I am. So I'm gonna have to keep up the appearances so people know that, hey, this weird guy that no one's seen, maybe he's the Batman because he's got the money.
Yeah,
he can do all that jazz. But him, like, going to the funeral and doing all these other things, he can still do something for Gotham as Bruce.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's what finally clicked towards the end. Hey, Bruce can make a difference as well. So I can't always be the Bat every night. I can't be everywhere at once. But during the day, I can make a difference too.
Yep. Yeah. See, this is why it's such a good movie.
It was good.
It was super good. I mean,
I went in with kind of, I'm open to it. Let's see what happens. And I came out going, I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean,
for a movie that's 3 hours long, it did not feel like 3 hours long at all.
No,
Like
it didn't.
The pace of the movie, the storytelling. I mean, really in any of that aspect, acting wise, just delivery of everything. Really, there wasn't that. I couldn't find very many flaws in how they told the story, how the story unfolded, how the actors portrayed each character. Like I thought the cast was amazing.
I thought the cast.
I mean,
it was.
I'll let you. So, I thought that there was an element in which they could have probably spent a little bit more time on.
Okay.
Which was
the relationship between Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne, or the Batman.
Yeah.
It seemed.
But then again, you fall. Yeah, but you do fall into that where you want to solidify Pattinson as Batman, so you don't want to do too much of that story because everybody kind of already knows the story, and they can explore that in future films.
They left the door open.
Yes, but but they left the door open, but there was already like someone walking inside.
Yeah,
for the story.
No,
yeah.
I agree.
Like, let's crack the door open a little bit. Let's not have like a full on. It's like, let's put the seeds of interest in there, not the whole entire. It's like, hey, I like you, because I mean, am I wrong? But it feels like it's not Pattinson. Selina Kyle character. It seems that she's looking for her girlfriend,
right?
And not in terms of like, I'm looking for a girl that's also my friend. I'm looking for my significant other,
our partner. Yeah,
or a partner.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. It's like nothing. It's like, I mean, it just seems that it's like this happened very quickly. It's like, okay, you went from.
It was a lot.
It's like you went from, I need to find Annika, to, oh, you're here. Hi. That's the issue. That's ultimately the issue that I have. Now, granted, probably like it's like, if we look at historics, the relationship between Batman and Selina Kyle is probably not the healthiest one on the face of the planet, but it works for them. So, mazel tov.
Yeah. I mean, it shows them definitely trauma bonding, for lack of a better term, but they're trauma bonded, and there's interest. We don't know who we are. I don't know. This is a lot. So maybe they kind of were just like, we're going to take a step back and maybe try to portray them more in a healthy way, or give them time to create more of a story and introduce other people, but they don't want to establish a love interest right away because they're trying to establish a new sort of timeline, a new sort of feeling. I get what you're saying. It was a little rushed, but I think sprinkling more of that in there would have just made it like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's, I mean, again, I kind of I keep going back to it, but I think that is, their way of saying, this movie's called The Batman, not Batman and Catwoman, or Batman and the Riddler, or whatever. It's they wanted to, they did their homework for sure.
Yes.
They wanted to have Pattinson come out and be the Batman. They didn't want anybody leaving the theater going, well, he sucked in Twilight and he sucked in this. They wanted people to come and be like, he sucked in Twilight, but damn, he's a really good actor.
Which they accomplished.
Exactly. So, I get where you're coming from for sure, because Rory kind of made the same comment, because she went and saw it with me, and anybody is a bigger Batman fan than I am, it would be her. I mean, her three favorite characters is Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley. So,
we stand some strong ladies in this household.
Right. So, I mean, that was definitely one of her things, but she understood it once we talked about it and stuff like that, because I love having those conversations with my daughter. you know. But and she'll call me out if I'm stupid and I'm saying something that completely is way off base, which is great.
Yeah.
That's the joy of having a nerdy daughter. So, yeah, no, dude, no, I definitely get where you're coming from for sure. But
then we would have had a 4-hour movie.
Yeah, exactly. Which
I
wouldn't have mind. I wouldn't have mind at all.
More sequels come in. It's like, okay, Catwoman
Yes.
goes off to Bloodhaven. It's like you didn't need to throw this in there.
Yeah,
well,
they did. Yeah, they did. Because
then
what was your reaction when she said that?
I freaked out.
Right?
I freaked out.
Right?
No, I'm saying it's like having her go off to Bloodhaven is fine. That's not the part that I'm bringing up. That's not the part that I'm having. Again, we're having issue with the relationship being so rushed. The whole entire thing of like her going off to Bloodhaven, it's like that could have happened without the kiss.
Okay, so you're saying you would have preferred the nice slow burn that we had without a kiss, or to burn a little faster with the kiss?
No,
You just thought the kiss was misplaced.
I think the kiss is misplaced. I don't think that the kiss. I don't think the kiss should have been in this movie at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that. I really can.
It's like I don't think the kiss should have been in this movie at all. I think it's like in terms of like, okay, yeah, sure, have her go off to Bloodhaven. That's fine. I don't care. That it's like in all honesty, it opens up the door to get like, you know, possibly a Nightwing movie. Possibly this other movie, because Bloodhaven is an important city in the in the DC universe, especially with the Bat family.
Oh yeah.
I love my Bat Boys. We've gotten enough Batman. I love this new Batman. It opens so many doors. It's not overdone. He's younger. We've established it. And I think I think Robert Pattinson said, hell yeah, I'll do another one. Yeah. And he honestly is super excited about it. So if we do continue to have all these offshoots, like now we have the Penguin show, they're teasing a Red Hood. So if they're talking about Bloodhaven,
well, they're even talking about doing their own kind of version of American Horror Story, but Arkham.
Yeah.
I know.
So I mean,
I want to see a Dick Grayson. They talk about the orphanage. They're talking about the orphanage. And what does Batman like to do? He likes to collect orphans, whether they're his Bat Boys or they're psychos. He collects orphans. He's an orphan collector. Right. So if we're talking about the Riddler and they do tease him running into Joker, but I'm sorry, this is a spoiler and it's not a spoiler at the same time because everybody talked about it the second it happened. Yeah. But if they're teasing all of this, they're including tidbits from everywhere. It would be nice if the DC universe expanded past Batman.
Yep.
It really would.
Well, because go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, because if you go into Marvel, what Marvel did was smart. They picked Spider-Man. Now we've got all the different Spider-Mans. We have an animated Spider-Man. We have Miles Morales. They branched. They branched. It was so much better. They had Ghost Spider. They branched. If you talk about any other Marvel movie, they branch.
Well,
DC is very linear.
Yeah, I think Brandon, you and I talked about this when we both saw the movie, but I'd said that this was like the perfect launch for Batman, like the dark, gritty kind of Dark Knight feel. You know, the detective. Now is what they need to do. Is they need to build on that, and if they're going to in fact reset the JLA and all this stuff, give us a Superman in this universe, but have it not as dark as Batman, or as
don't give it the Snyder treatment.
Don't give it the Snyder treatment, but give it the respect that it deserves. Like give it like something in between, kind of Man of Steel and the Superman movies that Christopher Reeve did. You know, a blend of those, and that'll be your Superman to bounce off your Batman here. And then you can build from that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but it's like I'll have to say this: it's going to be hard to replace Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Yeah,
very true. Very
We're
true.
just going to leave that one.
Right.
Because
I mean, even Henry Cavill as Superman. I mean, Henry Cavill is my favorite Superman next to Christopher Reeve. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a fantastic job with it, and I'm not just saying that because it's freaking Henry Cavill, but I mean, it goes for me saying he should be Superman goes all the way back to when he was in Count of Monte Cristo, when he was like 16, 17 years old, when he was just a kid. You know, Trish and I saw that movie and we're watching it, and as we're getting out, I was like, wow, that kid could play. Man, I hope he plays Superman when he gets older, because he's got the jawline, the blue eyes. Like, he'd be like the perfect Superman. And
and he's nerdy and loved it.
10 years later, he's freaking Superman, and everybody loves him. You know, so don't change that. I mean, I think what the whole Snyder thing has been missing is that sequential Batman, and I think they got that from Pattinson. Now, don't get me wrong, Ben Affleck was a really good Batman in the Snyderverse. Like, I don't want to take anything away from him, but this is the Batman that we should have gotten, that they should have done after Man of Steel or whatever, to really kind of start flowing with those movies. I think if they would have done that instead of just going Superman, okay, we're gonna do Wonder Woman, JLA, okay, and we still haven't had. Did your cat throw something at you?
No, a family member.
Oh, okay. Well, that was exciting. So,
do we need to cut this? Do we need to cut this episode short now?
No, just scared the shit out of me. It literally. Okay, we're gonna pause button so I don't have a heart attack.
So what were we talking about before we were interrupted?
I was going on a tangent about Batman and Superman, and that this should have been the Batman that we got it, and and all that fun stuff. But you know, it's
like, okay, so it's like, let me stop you there, because I do want to pose the question to you, actually, to the both of you, because there was some rumors and everything going around that Ben Affleck was to star and direct his own Batman movie.
That was this movie.
That was this movie.
Yes.
Only it wasn't Ben Affleck that we got, it was Robert Pattinson.
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
So do you think that if Ben Affleck were to have directed, possibly even written, because the man can do good storytelling.
He can.
He can, and if he gets... Go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
He can do good storytelling, and if he doesn't have that much interference, and also he does have a fantastic resource in one of his very good friends.
And that's what I was going to say.
By the name of Kevin frickin' Smith.
Yep.
Yes.
Who is, like, also a nerd god.
Yep.
That he could basically, you know, it's like tap on the shoulder. They did so. They kind of did that in Daredevil. So the whole entire thing of, like, you know, if we would have, it's like, I mean, okay, so I'll pose this question: if Ben Affleck was in this, and you know, take out the Justice League, take out Batman v Superman. Take out the things that we kind of pseudo turn our nose up to because we don't like it, versions of the Batman. Had this been Ben Affleck, would it have been just as good of a movie?
No. Because Matt Reeves came in and took, don't get me wrong, you know, Ben Affleck is Ben Affleck, right? I mean, he's an A-list superstar from Hollywood, and I think Robert Pattinson's a better actor than he is. Yes, I said it. And I think that he was the one to pull this off and to bring Batman back to where reality to where it was with you know, the whole Dark Knight Rises, and Batman Begins, because those three films brought Batman back to the height of
we're excited to go see a
popularity.
Batman.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You know, where not everybody likes Ben Affleck. Like there are people out there that just refuse to go see anything with him in it.
They vehemently dislike Ben Affleck.
Where Robert Pattinson really only has the hate from Twilight, and that's from a very small amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
But those people are still
bigger fan base.
Right, and that small amount of people are still going to go see this film because
it's a Batman movie.
It's a Batman movie, and they're nerds like all of us.
Well, okay.
You know.
So now I have a question, because you brought up the Dark Knight series with Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I kind of have an issue. It's a little tiny issue.
Okay.
Do we really want to bring in a new Joker?
Yes.
They need to.
They need to. They need to.
It's Heath Ledger's my favorite Joker.
Yes.
By far. He is and will always be known as probably the best Joker.
Okay.
Honestly. But
oh my God, Shane is shaking his head.
For me. I loved him. I just all of the unscripted little things that he did brought his personality into it. I love me some Heath Ledger. I think my favorite movie with him is A Knight's Tale. But I'm sorry, that's one of my comfort movies. But
Knight's Tale is amazing. Anyone who says otherwise, wrong.
You're not friends with us. You can't sit with us.
I saw it 15 times in theaters when it first came out. Okay.
I own a copy on DVD that I found at a thrift store for $2.
Nice.
I love it.
No,
but,
they
need another Joker.
This ultimately comes down to the question of, is it quote unquote too soon?
No.
Well, they already talked about, if we're going to be talking about castings that are too soon, they have to recast Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And they did.
No,
they did. It's not something anybody wants to do when someone's known for that role. They're iconic in that role.
And it's a
tragic. They made that role their own.
That they're no longer a part of.
Yes.
It's like they're a part of this world, that they can impart these fantastic performances, so that way we can enjoy them and stuff like that. So yes, it is sad, but I mean the question does.
They're going to recast.
Yeah, the question did warrant asking of it. It
did, and it's a good question, because now that we're starting to, and they did have that cameo of him laughing at the end.
Mm-hmm.
We all know the classic Joker laugh.
Yeah,
that's it. But
and he had the scars too.
And he did have the scars.
I mean, maybe that's because the theater was slightly late.
Just a little bit,
So it was, not.
But
as
if we're talking about a younger Batman, and we're opening the door to bring in more characters, start to have more of a timeline as we're starting to go through the comics. So what's going to happen when they bring in Robins? Mm-hmm. You have to have the Joker. You have to. There is no way to have a movie about Robins, like, especially if we're going to talk about Jason. You have to have him there.
Yeah.
And then if you're talking about Dick Grayson, same thing. That's a part of the origin stories for the Bat Boys.
Yeah.
So they really made this so open-ended, because then once you start introducing the Joker, we're talking about Catwoman. Now Catwoman is starting to become a thing. She's going to go off and do her own thing. What about the other girls? Harley, Poison Ivy. We start to have, like, maybe Huntress, some of these other ladies.
Yeah.
You got to have their male counterparts, if they have one, or their interactions, because now if we're having a Penguin show, we're talking about villains. We're getting more into villain backstories.
And what they did with this movie, like you said, like it opened the doors for so many different things, and with them doing, the Penguin or Cobblepot, the show for HBO Max, and talking about doing their own kind of version of American Horror Story with Arkham. You can do, if that's the road that you're going down, you can do so much with that. And I think with Matt Reeves being the director, and just how he is and thinking wise and stuff like that, he knows the Joker's been done many times.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think he wants to have the Joker be that out front villain right away. You know, that's why we didn't really get to see his face. We kind of got to laugh a little bit. You know, that's why we got the build up with the Riddler and the Penguin. And I think is what they're going to do is until hopefully, is just my opinion, solely my opinion only, that the Joker is the kingpin of all of this. And he's going to be kind of on the outside looking in and controlling everything, and you're not really going to get to see him like full force until, I'm hoping, at least one more movie in, like,
yeah,
to at least solidify that yes, it's the Joker. The Joker is, you know the king of insanity, and basically the king of Gotham, and runs pretty much everything. And because if they do, then they'll be true to the suit that they're doing with bringing the Arkham feel to the movies, because you're already kind of splitting up the city here. You've got the Penguin's already got his club.
Yes.
Which I freaking when they said it, I was like, wait. And then in my head, I completely go to ice. Like, is this place going to be like one of those, like, ice, ice clubs and stuff like that?
That you see in, like,
but it wasn't. It was very dark and gritty.
Like,
but now, are we going to see that evolution into that?
I want to say this because the fact of the matter is, like, kudos to the makeup department for this movie.
Oh my
god, dude! Holy crap!
Can we talk about how great he looked as Penguin?
Because the thing is.
I didn't. Like, I forgot it was him. I know.
Like I literally, I did not do any homework before going in to see this.
I didn't. I went in blind.
Andy Serkis, like, basically, I knew Andy Serkis was Alfred. I knew that Robert Pattinson was Batman / Bruce Wayne. I knew Zoe Kravitz was Catwoman. I knew that Jeffrey Wright was Gordon, and that was it.
Yeah,
that was.
I remember them saying he
everything that I knew, but then it's like, wait a second, what the? How?
Yeah. Movie magic, baby.
Man, it was crazy.
My mind was blown when I saw. It's like when I saw that on the end credit screen, because of course Marvel has trained me such. Marvel and Disney has trained me such in such a way that I'm like, I am sitting through the end credits, come hell or high water.
Which, as a bonus, we did actually go to the website that was featured in the after credits scene. He solved the cipher.
Yep.
I sat on the phone with him at 2:00 in the morning because I found a TikTok. I didn't get to stay because we had to leave. And I was like, okay, I know it's going to be on the internet. Whatever. I'd already gotten it spoiled, so I didn't really care so much. So I went home.
Here on this napkin. I'm looking.
I have a picture of that. No, but like I saw it. I was on TikTok, and I was like, oh my god! So I sent it to him. He sends me back less than 30 seconds later a picture of his screen with the cipher up, and it partially solved already. And I said yes. And then he called me about 10 seconds later because I was like, dude. And then I stayed up until he finished it.
And it's like, for those of you who haven't solved the cipher, I shall read it to you for like one of our closing bits, because we're running short on time. You think I'm finished, but perhaps you don't know the full truth. Every ending is a new beginning. Something is coming. And that's it. And I'm like, okay, so with this, they kind of sort of have to do a sequel. Otherwise, I'm going to get the worst case of nerd blue balls in the history of nerd blue balls.
Oh, okay, God, that's great.
That sounds like a very personal problem.
Right.
I know what you mean, and I don't have balls.
Everyone's gonna have that expectation, and then if it doesn't get delivered, it's like the worst form of like teasing. That
torture.
Yeah, exactly.
It's torture.
It's torture.
It's nerd torture.
Yes.
So, I mean, all around, we agree that the Batman is a good movie. It's
great.
It's worth the 3-hour sit, definitely.
Go pee first.
Yes, be dehydrated for that movie, so that way you don't have to go to the bathroom in
Yes.
the middle of it.
Get a snack.
Yeah.
Get a snack. Don't consume too much caffeine. If your alcohol if your theater serves if your alcohol serves theater, that's
Wow.
It wasn't me that bloopered this time.
I'm leaving this in. I'm leaving this part in. But
There
if
you
your
go.
theater,
Ooh, we're feeling spicy this evening.
no, I'm feeling tired and also lazy.
Fair. But you'll be editing this later, so we'll see.
You
Fair.
never know.
If your theater just so happens to serve alcohol, don't like overindulge. And it's like, please drink responsibly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that way you can avoid having to, because it's like this movie did have a lot in it, and I think that if you got up to go to the bathroom, there would be something that you'd miss.
You would definitely miss
Yeah.
something if you had to pee in the middle of the movie.
I saw something, I think it was on TikTok. Somebody actually created a TikTok of where you can actually, the perfect time, if you do have to go to the bathroom, here's the perfect time to go because there's nothing going on during this time, and this time.
It's just fluff.
But any other time than that, don't go to the bathroom.
That's brave.
But,
Right?
Go ahead.
I had to pee during the last hour of I think it was Man of Steel or something, and I literally almost peed my pants in the theater. I think it was Man of Steel was the last time. So I've learned my lesson. But I think there was one other time where I left, and I was so mad because I think I ended up missing some huge plot twist, and I was by myself, so of course no one could explain it to me. So I had to stop someone on the way out and be like, "I'm sorry, I had to pee at this time and this time. What happened?" And they had to tell me.
That's all right. I made the genius decision to have a half yard of Guinness before I went in and saw Endgame.
That's worse. That's so much worse.
Sir, you stupid.
Yeah, it was so good though.
Oh no,
Fair.
I agree with you. Guinness is amazing. Guinness is it's like Shane and I. It's like we're kind of brothers in this because Guinness is our go-to beer.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But
I'm Irish too.
As we come to an end of this episode, I am going to ask each of you what your favorite scene was. Shane, what was yours?
Ooh.
Oh damn.
That's a good question.
And hopefully no one takes mine.
Well, then you'll go second.
That's tough because I mean, it wouldn't just be one scene because it was any time he was in working with Gordon as the detective.
Okay.
As what when you first pick up a Batman comic book and you start reading Batman,
being the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Those were my favorite parts of the movie because you got to see the analytical part of Batman that you don't generally get to see unless he's in front of his computer and his computer's telling him what's going on.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's him doing that detective work and the relationship that he has with Gordon and the GCPD. Like all those scenes are just so well done and they're very gritty, and the fact that they do take the time to show you what the cops think of him.
Yes.
Like when he first shows up on scene and they're like, "We're not letting you in. You're not going past here. What the hell are you doing here?"
Exactly.
And Gordon has to come back like, "It's okay. He's with me." And they're still like, "Nah, bro, this isn't okay." No.
We're cops.
And then,
No.
Yeah, so it was his detective work in the 2 or 3 scenes that he did, and it just, oh dude, that was like golden age Batman right there. Golden age Batman. I was like, wait, no, is it silver? No, it's golden age. It's golden age. Okay. But yeah, just it was awesome, dude. I love that. I love that feel that those scenes had, and just made me want to go back. And I could watch a freaking Batman CSI show and be happy.
Yes.
Just call it.
He's solving the mini mart robbery.
Right. I'm down, man. Sign me up.
Yes.
All right. You know what? Shane didn't pick mine. I'm gonna take a gamble and say no. Swede, you go.
No, you're next.
Okay, fine. my favorite scene in the movie, or it's like in the Batman, was towards the end where he's it's like he's fighting a bunch of goons. I don't know if he's working his way to Carmine Falcone Carmine Falcone.
Yes.
But it's like he's in this underground labyrinth essentially. And he it's like he comes across this plethora of guards with machine guns. And everything goes dark.
Yes.
And as the gunfire, it's like, and the muzzle flash from the guns.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one.
It's like lights up his suit and everything
good
else.
Good cinematography.
And it's like, and you see like him just laying waste to all these goons and everything else in the darkness, and just being illuminated by these brief intermittent lights, flashes of light from the muzzle flashes of his enemy's guns. I'm like, this is a scene of beauty.
Yeah.
Like this is like a Batman that I want to watch.
Yeah.
It was Darth Vader and Rogue One all over again.
Yeah.
Really? Only with strobe effects. Only with strobe effects. All right.
Yes.
Swede, hopefully I didn't just take yours. So what is your favorite scene in this?
A little bit.
Did I take it?
Kind of. So it was specific scene wise, yes, but I'm also going to take a page out of Shane's book.
Okay.
I loved the Riddler puzzles. I loved how weird they were and how specific, and how it was so funny to me how his mind works. And I really loved that they just made him very literal. He's just like, hey, it's funny. I mean, right? But I loved that the cards were hilarious. But they made a point to make them very simple and easy and straightforward, but they were trying so hard to figure it out. And then when he finally meets him face to face and they're talking, and he goes, this was the whole reason I did this. I just wanted to meet you because I felt like we would be friends. We could have a relationship. And he was explaining these puzzles and stuff like that. I loved the Riddler in this. I was glad it was not the Joker, as much as we all love the Joker. I mean, he's the king. But I loved a different villain. I loved having the puzzles. It was more of a thinker movie instead of an action-y Batman.
Okay.
But yeah, my one specific scene was the one you described. Because that just was so cool. Every time you saw a muzzle flash, someone was getting their head caved in, or they're getting kicked in the face or something, and you're just like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
And then you so much good cinematography.
All right, well, I think that's about all that we have time for today. What was your favorite scene in The Batman? Tell us what you think in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, do what it is that you gotta do. Ring that little bell for notifications. And thank you for joining us on this very special episode of The Roundtable. As normally we do this every 2 weeks, but we figured that the Batman deserved a special episode. So until next time, that's been Sassy, that's been Shane, and I've been Brendan. Thank you for joining us at the roundtable, and we hope to see you at the next one. Thank you, and goodbye.